Pet and owner relationships. It's really important when you get a dog to have proper expectations of what you want from that dog and understanding the stuff that you have to do, the responsibility that you need to do for your dog in order to get those expectations. Because a lot of times people want that movie relationship. They want the dog to come in, cuddle, and be good with the family and just have no problems. But in reality, you have to put work in to get that. And also you have to select the proper dog. If you want a really chill dog, you have to get a really chill breed. If you want a really excitable dog and a dog who has a lot of drive, you have to know what's going to come with that. You have to actually be responsible enough to go and get the training, work the management, and fulfill their needs. Because a lot of times when we're looking at it in a relationship context, we want all these things from the dog, but what are we doing for that dog? You can't just get a dog who's just going to be normal and just gonna, not normal, but not just gonna be like, cuddly and do all these things. You have to get a dog that's gonna fit your needs, but you also have to fulfill that dog's needs as well. For example, when you have a dog on a couch all the time and you're trying to cuddle and love them and do all these other things, and the next your dog develops resource guarding over you. They start growling or biting at people. They start barking at things. That's the result of not having proper structure in your household, not having proper training. You can have a dog that comes up and cuddles on the couch, but you have to mark that. You have to tell them, okay, come up and cuddle with you. And then you have to reinforce that. If they start doing negative things, then you have to tell them, no, hey, that's not okay. And then they lose that privilege. That's one of the main things I see with pet owner relationship conflict and understanding. The other part of it too is that let's talk about when you free feed your dog, tons of times they're gonna know that they'd get that for free. So when you say my dog's not listening to me, even when I have treats, they're not listening to you because they get everything for free. So they're not earning any of those things. And we have to remember, we created dogs to be biddable. In order for them to want to listen to you and want to do those things, biddability means they want to please you. They want to, learn from you. They want to do those things. If we're giving them everything for free, we're losing the biddability aspect of it because there's no need for them to listen to you anymore. So we have to have that understanding. If we want certain things from them, we have to do the work to do that too. Another big problem that I saw after COVID was separation anxiety, because people were at home all the time. They weren't creating their dog, or they feel bad about creating their dog. And it's important to understand that the more that you have time with your dog and the less separation you have, you are creating that separation anxiety. So what do people do? They don't go and start crate training their dog. They start medicating their dog. They start complaining about it, and it's the dog's fault, right? They're not doing that. Or even like that, let's talk about crate training. When you're crate training your dog, you're not disciplining your dog. It should never be a negative thing. What you're doing is you're giving them their own time. You're giving them their own time to be by themselves. And what you do when you do that is you build self-confidence. You build, basically the dog is independent now. So another thing too is when you crate train your dog, you're building more value in the engagement you have with your dog. So if you want a dog that's going to be all cuddly and loving with you all the time, you'd be more passionate about it, you have to create separation. It's like, imagine being separated from your significant other, your loved one. The more time you see them, the value just drops down just a little bit. But when you have that separation for a little bit and you see them, there's more passion involved with that. It's the same thing with dogs. So having separation is really important. When you get a dog, you want to make sure that you have the proper mental state and understanding that it's not necessarily always about what you want. It's really about what's best for the dog. Because if you do what's best for the dog and you manage that dog properly, then you eventually get what you want. Nothing ever is perfect right away. You have to train the dog. And let's talk about training. You want your dog to not pull on the leash. You want your dog to sit when you tell him sit. You want your dog to down when you tell him down. You want him to place when they're playing place. You have to train that consistently because it's a behavior. Just as people, when we stop doing certain things, let's say you stop going to the gym, you're going to eventually lose that muscle. You're eventually going to lose that cardio. You're eventually going to lose that stamina. But if you stay consistently in the gym, you consistently build all that up. It's the same thing with dog training. You have to consistently train or you'll lose it. That's saying if you don't use it, you lose it. That's exactly what happens in dog training. It's never something that's like a one and done thing. Your dog doesn't necessarily learn this one time and then they retain it for the rest of their life. Or maybe they'll retain it a little bit, but it might be a little slower and slower and slower until they just blow you off. So it's important when you get a dog, having the proper expectations on you, not the dog, because it is a commitment. The dogs aren't just little toys that just hang out in the house. And then when your dog has behavioral issues, you have to look at what we've done. You have to self-reflect and understand, okay, maybe I let the dog out for too long and he started to get into things, because dogs know once they do something once, it's a possibility over and over and over again. And if you want to have a proper relationship with your dog, that movie relationship with your dog, you have to put the work in. So having expectations and having that balanced managed life of training, the management, the affection aspect of it, and utilizing those little tools that we're just talking about right now will help you get to where you want to go.